But regardless, we get the people what they want.
There is a lot to discuss, but of course, we start the show with the game that you attended last night. Of course, we're going to get to Michigan's performance, but let's celebrate Johnny Juzang. Johnny Juzang was on fire in the first half. Seemed like every time he rose up to shoot, the ball went in. 18 in the first half, twisted his ankle in the second half. But first, I would like to salute the UCLA Bruins for getting to the Final Four. And now, Mr. Rose, it's time for you to discuss the performance, especially at the end of the game, of your Michigan Wolverines.
Johnny Blaze was out to get loot like Johnny Cash against the Wolverines last night. I want to make sure I give him props. And their point guard, Tiger, made some timely buckets. He was the only other player in double figures. As you know, I've been a Los Angeles snowbird since 1994. And I have so many friends on the West Coast and in Cali and at UCLA, where I played at the men's gym for so many years. So big salute to all of them. I don't want to take anything away from their team. UCLA making it to the Final Four is what makes the NCAA tournament beautiful. Sudden death, one shot, one kill. To go from a play-in to the Final Four. And if you look at the history of UCLA basketball, and I'm gonna get to Michigan in a minute, this ain't one of their most talented teams. And by the way, their best player is a transfer from Kentucky who was balling out in a year where Kentucky didn't even make the NCAA tournament. Jacoby, they had 0 threes made in the second half. They had 0 fast break points, and they had 0 bench points for the entire basketball game.
You really don't want to talk about Michigan, do you?
If we play them 10 times, we beat them 8. If we play them 10 times, we beat them 8. But that don't matter. And so let me tell you why we lost. A couple of things. We needed that gentleman, Mo Wagner, and our point guard, Smith, to be more effective. Mm-hmm. They were 3 for 17 combined, and Smith didn't score the first half. And both of those guys were the people shooting late and struggling to get buckets when I think we were like scoreless the last maybe 5 minutes of the game. The other issue that we had, Jacoby, is we were getting the ball in a restricted area. Sometimes uncontested, sometimes contested. You gotta finish those. Those is layups, those is bunnies, those is buckets. I counted at least 10 shots within the restricted area like the ones that you see that we missed. A couple of other things, since you wanted to talk about my pain, since you wanted to talk about my Wolverines. You know what else we did? Too many turnovers. Turn the ball over way too much. And then here's something else that we did. The last 2 games, actually. Missed free throws. Go to the line, missing free throws. Every time you go to the free throw line and you miss both, that's a turnover.
Smith at the end of the half. Smith at the end of the half, that was tough. That was tough to go in the locker room after missing 2 free throws that could have cut the lead to 2.
Oh, it's more. You want to talk more about the tournament? I got you. UCLA actually helped us out a couple of times. And this is why hindsight is also 2020. They were up 1 and called timeout. And we all knew Johnny Blaze was getting the ball. They ran an action to him, and then the ball handler, Tiger, I believe, dribbled left and threw it to the shooter in the corner for 3. They were trying to go for the knockout blow against us. And he missed.
Great contest from Johns on that play.
Correct, and he missed. And here's the other thing. John Blaze, and I'm showing him love by calling him that because he was torching us. Like, I can't front. I was watching him in the first half. I'm like, is this Donald Williams? I'm like, is this Donald Williams? See, I'm like, is this happening? Is this happening? And then I had a couple of people even was like, well, maybe you was bad luck. I'm like, I'm a season ticket holder. I was at the last game. It ain't because I was at the game, stupid. I was at the previous game.
That
don't have nothing to do with it.
I think a lot of those missed shots toward the end might have made a bigger difference to your attendance.
Yeah, if I was playing. Maybe if I was playing. But again, I'm so very proud of our team, Jacoby. I'm so very proud of the National Coach of the Year, Juwan Howard. I'm so proud of the Big Ten champs. But I have to tell you, as a non-excuse maker, the elephant in the room. Isaiah Livers is the University of Michigan's best basketball player, and he was not available during the NCAA tournament. And we still made the Elite Eight without our best player. That's an absolute
told you,
fact.
and I told all my Michigan friends that regardless of what happens in this game, it's been an extremely successful season for the Michigan Wolverines. However, watching the game last night, you can't help but think that there were some missed opportunities, and there was a lot left on the floor that they will think about all offseason. But Jalen, let me go positive on you for a second. Help is on the way. The #1 recruiting class is coming into Ann Arbor, and that is highlighted by these 4 gentlemen: Caleb, Musa, Frankie, and a guy named Kobe. All top 50 players coming in the recruiting class to a team that went to the Elite Eight, and I'll say it, should have gone to the Final Four. So help is on the way in Ann Arbor. It's going to be a successful season next season. And this last season, there's no reason to keep your chin down. Hold your head up high. You had a great season, Wolverines, and we loved it the whole time. And shout to Jeannie Rose, the creator of the name Jalen. Moving on to the other game last night in the Final Four, that was USC getting absolutely waxed by Gonzaga. Jalen, can anyone stop Gonzaga from running through the rest of this tournament and going undefeated?
Baylor and Gonzaga is going to be an amazing championship game that I anticipate. I feel bad for UCLA because they're going to get waxed in their next game.
Yeah.
So hopefully they enjoy beating my Wolverines. And again, shout to Bruin Nation.
And Gonzaga played well on offense, but it was their defense really that got them this one. Early on in the game, it just seemed like every time a Trojan touched the ball, it just got ripped away, and the Zags were going the other way. Great all-around performance for Gonzaga. Look forward to watching them as they move forward, and I have them being the first undefeated team since 1976.
Something else happened when I was watching the games yesterday, Jacoby. I realized something. Gonzaga has a Jalen, which is a superpower, and I look closer at the TV, and Baylor has a Mitchell that reminds me of Donovan. But Gonzaga has a forward that reminds me of David Jacoby, and he was balling.
That brings us to soft move or boss move. Jalen, I love Drew Timme. Everybody loves Drew Timme. He's got a handlebar mustache, and he gets buckets. However, after every one of his buckets, he celebrates. He's got a signature mustache celebration. He flexes his muscles. So my question is for you, soft move or boss move, celebrating after every single made basket?
It's a boss move, and let me tell you why. People that average 17, 20 and above, they don't celebrate every bucket because that'd be too much celebration. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So for him, it's a boss move. And we should put your head on his shoulders. Because I played basketball with you, and your game and your body type and how you move, thank you, reminds me so much of my brother, David Jacoby, the stretch mark 4.
That is the most flattering thing you've ever said about me, because his body type looks nothing like mine and his game looks absolutely nothing like mine. But then, of course, just in Jalen fashion, after you say something nice, you say something mean and call me a stretch mark 4. Moving on to the NBA, our colleague Brian Windhorst has recently been on podcasts and on shows, and he was saying that LeBron James was recruiting Steph Curry during All-Star Weekend. Now, Mr. Rose, the question I have for you is this. At the end of this season, Steph Curry will be offered an extension of 4 more years to stay with the Warriors until he's 38 years old. Is it an absolute no-brainer, no question, that he is going to stay with the Warriors for what is his foreseeable future?
To me, it's a no-brainer and a no question that Steph Curry's loyalty is going to be with the Golden State Warriors. I'm tired of media members and fans looking at Dame Dollar, looking at Giannis, looking at Bradley Beal, telling those players and encouraging those players to leave their current team because basically you're admitting that you're not good enough to help that team have the kind of success that'll make you want to stay long term. You think after back-to-back seasons of Klay Thompson being injured and fighting to get back and return to play with his splash brother, that Steph Curry will have the nerve to leave and he can sign another $200 million contract and over the next 5 years almost make $300 million? He ain't going nowhere.
I completely agree. Steph Curry's going to be in a Warrior uniform for the rest of his career. There will be no Pat Ewing on the Sonics for Steph Curry. There will be no lost tapes years. Steph Curry will play every second of his professional basketball career with the Golden State Warriors.
Some people are actually die hard while others are die easy.
And that's me. Loyalty is completely overrated. What is not overrated is that man right there, Alfonso Ribeiro. America's funniest home videos host who made the Carlton Dance famous, joins us right after this. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Jalen Jacoby Jalen, who is joining us on the program right now.
Actor, entrepreneur, or you might know him from doing this dance on the Fresh Prince. It's Carlton. Alfonso Ribeiro joins the show. Appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you. Good to be with y'all, with all of y'all. You know, I love y'all both. I watch y'all every day, so it's an honor to come and play and talk a little sports and a little career and all the rest.
Well, we're excited to have you on. We especially want to talk to you about your Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron is out. AD is out. They're in fourth place in the West and sliding. How concerned are you right now about your Lakers?
Listen, the way that the new playoff system is working where, you know, basically 10 teams get to go into a postseason situation, the Lakers can win from any position. They don't need home court to actually win. So for me, it's about getting both of those guys healthy. With the addition of Andre Drummond is massive. You know, listen, I felt like, you know, part of the reason why we really did so well last year in the bubble was because of our bigs. We locked down that interior, and so nobody could get in there and get easy baskets. So for guys, when they had a little bit of an off shooting night, they were dead by us. We were killing them. So for me, the reality is that we are still the team to beat. I know Brooklyn has done a fantastic job getting a lot of people to buy in, but none of them have played together, right? Like we haven't seen them as a team yet, right? You know, there's one ball, and you can't have 5 dudes who need the ball. They're not a team yet. They don't have the pieces that you specifically need to win. We all know there's 2 things that win championships, right? And it's being able to make the adjustment and defense. And I don't see them being able to defend the Lakers if the Lakers and the Nets see each other in the finals. And I know everybody still loves the Clippers. Clippers are a great team. But you know what they're doing again this year? They're not finishing games.
Last night.
To blow leads in the fourth quarter. You can't do that when you get to the playoffs. And so I think right now, even though, you know, we don't have our 2 best and we're sliding a little bit, when we get them back, watch out. Lakers are coming for you.
I think that's professional, astute analysis. And if basketball fans get the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers for an NBA Finals, that would be a treat. You're also a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. How did you feel as Dak Prescott went back and forth for a couple of years trying to get top dollar from your team? And do you feel like now, since he's signed, they can win the division and make some noise in the NFC?
Well, I definitely believe that we can win the East. I mean, listen, the NFC East is like, you know, That's like playing basketball with your 7-year-old and saying, I'm going to give him a couple shots. Like, because you should be able to win the NFC East. The reality is I definitely don't think that we are a team yet ready to go and win the Super Bowl. Here's my reasoning. The Dallas Cowboys were built on an impressive offensive line. That offensive line has gotten old in the last several years. And I don't necessarily think that we have built back that offensive line. You know, for all of y'all that played Madden for all those years, you can't have a stale offense and no offensive line and actually be able to win. You got to have balance on both sides of the ball. And I don't feel like the Dallas Cowboys have that balance on the offensive line to allow Dak and Zeke to be able to do what they can do best. Yes, we saw a great sample of Dak at the beginning of last season, throwing the ball all the way all around the field, scoring, getting huge numbers. But those numbers are shallow when you don't recognize that those were sustained drives versus big plays. We can make the big play, but you can't sustain that throughout the season and especially into the playoffs.
What analysis from Alfonso Ribeiro here on Jalen Jacoby. You're an astute sports analyst
Exactly
right now on
right.
ESPN. We
crushing
appreciate that. And most of us are used to seeing you, of course, as Carlton on Fresh Prince, but right now as the host of one of the best television shows to ever air on the airwaves. That is America's Funniest Home Videos. Appointment viewing for people, especially people of our age. But a question I have for you is has there been a video that was just kind of over the line that you guys couldn't put on the show but wanted to?
Well, I'm going to say that I never actually watch the videos until they're selected for the show. So I never see those videos, but I'm going to make a professional judgment and opinion here. I know they see some videos that we can't put on the show, but I don't get to see them.
So you grew up in the Bronx, and you're a Yankees fan. How do you get to be a Cowboys and a Lakers fan also?
Okay. Now let me explain this because it's actually quite complicated but very simple. When I lived in New York, I wasn't a basketball fan, and when it came to football, I was actually a Jets fan. So, when you go back to the 70s and you were a Jets fan, you never actually got to watch your team on TV because nobody went to the games. So you would watch whoever else was actually playing, and it was always the Dallas Cowboys. And after a while, you were like, I kind of like this team. They keep doing well. I'm gonna switch. The kids haven't learned their loyalty yet. So it was mostly because of the fact that I wasn't into basketball yet, so I wasn't a Knicks fan at that point. So I moved to LA, and it was the Showtime Lakers. So, what was I going to do? Not like them?
Well, Alfonso, you can always see him on America's Funniest Home Videos. I want to thank you so much for coming through and offering such great sports analysis.
Absolutely, guys. Listen, anytime you need me to come and give expert analysis on team breakdowns, you got me. You got me.
Done, and done.
Against the Celtics, that's at 7:30, and then at 10 p.m. it's the nightcap, the Bucks against the Lakers. Sometimes videos need to be broken down in detail, and you and I need to go to the table. Jalen, what is Russell Westbrook doing at the end of the game here?
Playing emphatic basketball with it 36 seconds to start a game or to end a game. I never understood teams that are trailing that hold on to the ball and get lackadaisical. Continue to be a beast, averaging a triple-double the last 3 games. Russ, I see you out there, Brody.
Jalen, huge announcement. The Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isley Brother Versus is going to be hosted by none other than Steve Harvey. What does that mean to you?
It means classic, feel-good, adult music when groups were celebrated, not cliques, not crews, not record labels. groups. This is gonna be classic.